Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Dissonant Waves. My name is Dominic.
Hello.
Trix and Ritz are here.
Hello.
Yes.
This is episode 65. 65th episode. Not counting minisodes, but counting lost episodes, of course.
We're 4 episodes away from the meme number.
Damn.
Yes, indeed. And this week, a little bit of a theme week. We've chosen albums that our parents liked and that our parents introduced to us. So let's go around the horn here and say what we picked from our parents' repertoire.
I can go.
Yeah, no, you go first.
Yeah, I chose the album Fish Out of Water by Chris Squier. This is a very symphonic prog album my father introduced to me when I was really young.
I picked TISM's Great Truckin Songs of the Renaissance. The reason being that TISM was one of the first artists that me and my dad, or at least my dad, kind of introduced me to. I can actually remember how I found TISM, and someone made this SpongeBob music video on YouTube, and it was called "Everyone Else Has Had More Sex Than SpongeBob," and it was using the TISM song.
Excellent.
And my dad overheard me listening to it, and it was like, "Welcome to TISM, lad."
And I have inherited my parents' vinyl collection. And my mom has one record that she apparently likes so much that she wrote her name on it. So I selected Hair of a Dog by Nazareth as a way to understand what my mom likes in music, because I understand my dad's taste a lot more than hers. And here we are now with that. Who do we want to talk about?
Can we get Nazareth out of the way first? Because I feel like
Yeah.
that's the one where me and Trix probably didn't enjoy it as much as you have.
I didn't enjoy it as much. I think it's gonna be a number 3 for all of us probably.
Yeah, I don't mean to offend, but your mom has bad tastes.
She likes love songs. She said she likes pop and rock and love songs, and that's pretty much all I got out of her about why she liked this album so much.
That's respectable at least.
Yeah, I mean, I can see why you'd like this album, but yeah, no, it's kind of boring.
Yeah.
It was definitely very 70s kind of glam pop rock.
As they call it,
There's, like,
heavy
a lot
metal
of
for some
blues
reason.
in it. Yeah, metal in the Rush used to be labeled as heavy metal, so
Yeah, anything that wasn't disco or pop then was just kind of considered metal.
the metal.
Um,
I
and
consider
like
this
very
like
few of them actually were. Yeah,
yeah.
sorry, go on.
I consider this kind of like if AC/DC and Robert Plant had a baby, but kind of in the worst way. And that like
I'm not even an AC/DC fan, and I'm upset you made that comparison.
Yeah.
the
I mean,
guy's voice
AC/DC can
sounds
write
very
one.
AC/DC.
I mean, you could just like have any dude gargle nails and whiskey and sound like the singer from AC/DC. So
Yeah, no, AC/DC has a pretty rough voice, and that's still kind of the point.
like I had a friend who used to confuse Guns N' Roses' Axl Rose and AC/DC vocalist up together.
I don't know. Axl Rose has a more unique voice to me. This guy, like they say, this band is Scottish, but you would never be able to tell. It just does not compute really. They could be from any place. Like why Scotland? Like they have a
So
song called Rose
we
and
got the
Heather.
we got an advertisement happening in the background here. Okay, I can hear you advertising. Thank you. 5 more people now know exactly what this podcast is.
Hey, awesome.
5 times our viewer
Sweet.
base.
And what this album was really notable for is number one, they wanted to call it "Son of a Bitch," and they could not do that in the '70s, so they changed it to "Hair of the Dog." And then it's like, is it "Hair of the Dog" is like a hangover cure? Is it like "Air of the Dog," like the air of a dog? The child of a dog. And then there's a cover of "Love Hurts" by the Isley Brothers that people seem to dig for some reason. And that's on here.
Yeah,
I skipped that song after the first listen.
I don't blame you.
The other song
That
that
was boring. That one.
yeah, the other song that seemed to get swapped out with it, the song "Guilty," was more interesting, but it didn't
We
fit.
didn't end up listening to that one.
Of course, you didn't. You never listened to anything extra.
Guilty.
Yes.
That's number 3 on the track list.
And in the non-American
Oh,
version,
he's got
yes.
the Australian version.
Yeah, so I've listened to it, baby.
Yeah, so on the non-American version, Love Hurts is last and Guilty is number 3. Where in the American version, Love Hurts is number 3 and Guilty is nowhere to be found.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I couldn't really give you much difference, to be honest. I don't know. This album's just really not for me. Is the best way to like describe it without actually going into depth of why it was boring as shit.
It is the kind of classic rock we have
Yeah.
not really covered because it is very just that sound and nothing too like outside of that.
It is peak dad rock.
There's nothing really to grab onto in terms of like this sounds cool or different, you know. This has like that Rush feel, or this has that, you know. It doesn't even have like a Judas Priest feel or anything. Like you could tell me that this is another band, and I'd probably believe you. You could say that this is like a Yes album. You could say this is AC/DC. You could say that this is like I don't know anything else.
This is not. You could not convince me that this is a Yes album.
Okay, maybe that's a bit far.
I love that if you
Yeah.
literally look at their Spotify bio picture, they actually look like just 4 different bands.
Hold up.
And it's not like it's not like a Serge Tanakian or Tanaki. I can't remember how to pronounce his last name.
Arcani, I think, but either way.
Tanaki, maybe. Yeah. It's not like him being the most formal member of System of a Down, and kind of like, oh, they look different, and that's kind of funny. They all just look like they all kind of want to do their own thing in their bio pictures.
Yeah.
Not that that's
Like, there's a dude with a mustache, a dude in a wife beater.
obviously you can't really actually make any assumptions of the band off of what they look like. Everyone dresses what they want to. It's just it's a bit weird, specifically for like 70s bands as well.
Mm-hmm.
Around there, you usually try to have a bit more of a cohesive look.
What were we listening to? Or we were looking at something lately where they were talking about bands and like being a gang. That was like dressing. No, that was a Kevin Barnes interview I was watching about how bands used to dress alike and how that like you could make a gang out of it. And how Kevin could take on I don't know, it was like Van Halen or something for some reason. That was a fun interview.
It was who did he say could take in a fight?
I think it was Van Halen.
Yeah, it was Van Halen.
Yeah. But yeah, this idea that bands always like are very synchronized and dressing alike just for consistency's sake. And then we have stuff like this where it's just kind of like random people. Which at this point, you know, the band is about as old as Yes is, if not, you know, they never broke up, you know. So they have one original member left, the bassist Pete Agnew. His son's the drummer now, and then the other people are just kind of there.
Yeah, that about sums up bands from this era.
I mean, I can definitely understand why your mum would love this type of album. This is, again, I'm probably rehashing it. It's a very 70s type of album.
Yeah.
I'm sure if I went up to my mum, not for this album specifically, but there'd be ones very similar. I mean, I know she was a Black Sabbath fan herself. I doubt it was just Black Sabbath. There was probably more bands like this that she was into. There's probably some like this that my dad was into. It's the 70s. It just doesn't really hold up that well for us now.
My father probably owns this album on vinyl.
And it's like one of those things where it was like one of the most popular albums of 1975, and it just does not at all reveal why anymore. It's just kind of there, and you have that interesting little bit of changing in the track listings. I think Guilty is one of the highlights of the album just because it's like that slower, more personal song, and it's not just like rock kick your ass kind of thing. And it's a Randy Newman song too. He wrote it. So other than that, like these songs are just very generic, and like, and it's like there's not much to them. It's like, ah yes, the woman, she drinks whiskey. Oh yes, I feel emasculated when I date this woman. My mom told me that that's not good.
Yeah.
And then please don't Judas me. And that's that song. Over 9 minutes long. What could that mean?
I could actually kind of appreciate that song a little bit more. It got a little more into like the proggy,
more atmospheric
stuff
yeah.
I enjoy.
Yeah.
How to get tricks to like a song? Just make it 5 more minutes than it needs to be. Claim it's prog.
Yeah, pretty much.
Fair
Add
enough.
some prog elements.
Yeah, I mean, it was at least
Like,
more worth talking about than like the Crazy Horse cover they technically have.
yeah,
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 already
that
12
that
minutes
beat
in,
us
and
round.
that's kind of this. And I've been trying to make better choices, but can't win them all,
Oh,
I guess.
Jesus fell twice.
yeah, that will be something. I mean, look, it's not one of these albums in which you absolutely hate. It's not one of those ones that you absolutely like. It's just there, hard to really talk about. But like, I feel like this is one of those ones where you just kind of like need to be back there to appreciate it,
Yeah,
and you just kind of can't.
like this needs to be like new to you, completely new sound to you for it to make any sense at the point, probably. Because ACDC was probably
Yeah,
around by now, right?
Uh,
not sure about the states, but yeah, they probably were around.
I'm gonna Wikipedia that real quick. ACDC founded in '73. Yep,
eh,
so just barely a bit around. But yeah,
uh,
they have this sound, and I think they probably are the most famous group that has this sound, at least now.
Yeah, AC/DC could only write one song, but
I did manage to make 20
they
hits
wrote
from
it
it.
well. Yeah, they wrote it well. It's like Johnny
Eh.
Cash.
And they could
I mean,
probably cover Hair of the Dog on this album, and they would do just fine with it.
Yeah,
AC/DC's best songs are the ones that don't actually sound like that one song.
yeah.
Also,
I mean,
guess who has covered this song?
Who
Guns N' Roses.
makes sense?
actually,
I,
I want to just quickly ask this question though to Trix. What do you think the best AC/DC songs are?
I don't even think I can name 5 AC/DC songs other than
D-
like just the hits. If I'm gonna be honest, I have not deep dived on their discography.
Not that worth deep diving to. Maybe from Back in Black, the album, I guess, is about it. It's like,
Yeah,
do I even know 5 AC/DC songs? Let's see. Back in Black, TNT, Dirty Deeds. I had one other one in mind. Ah, crap.
you would
High
absolutely
voltage,
High Voltage
Thunderstruck
is the album. I'm surprised you didn't say Highway
Hell's
to Hell.
and Highway to Hell.
Hell's
Yes.
Bells.
Yeah.
Okay, that's like 5, 6.
Thunderstruck is like the one really popular AC/DC song I would say is not overrated. I think it actually is as good as they get hyped.
There's a great drinking game based around Thunderstruck. Have you heard of this one?
Probably, but I forgot.
Basically, you drink. Hold up, let me just take a sip of. There we go. My bad. So basically, what happens is when the word thunder comes on, you start drinking. When the word thunder is said
Yeah,
again, the next person starts drinking, and you stop. And it just keeps continuing round robin until the song's over. But there's like those big chunks where people are just keep drinking.
so
Hmm.
the other AC/DC song, which I think is actually good. Granted, I don't hate AC/DC. I just think they're not as interesting anymore. But Let There Be Rock, which is a 6 minute track that's all just kind of about a god creating rock,
Oh
and
yes.
it's definitely cheesy as it gets, but it goes into a part where it's so cheesy it's actually just fun.
I
Plus,
mean,
King Gizzard did a pretty good cover of it.
oh, okay, cool.
It's they did it at a live show right after one of the members died.
Oh,
The other thing I wanted to say about this album is that
what's his name?
Malcolm Young, I think.
Yeah, Malcolm Young.
the only thing I really have
Yeah,
to say about this album is that this is the kind of thing that Jack Black is making fun of in Tenacious D. It's this exact kind of thing.
Yeah,
The voice is over the top and very rough, like you said. That's all Jack Black mocking. And with titles like Miss Misery, Whiskey Drinking Woman, how can you not be a little bit curious to mock it?
mhm.
well, with that, I think we should move on from this album because it's not really getting much life, to be honest.
Glad I did not do the extra tracks in this one.
Ooh.
That would not have helped at all.
I listened to them
Yeah.
once, and then the second time, I'm like, yeah, I can't fight.
Anyway, the most interesting. I'm not gonna say it's a favorite. The most interesting songs to listen to now. I think "Guilty" is an interesting Randy Newman song. Please Don't Judas Me is a weird 9-minute odyssey that they try to make something interesting out of, and it kind of succeeds a little bit. At least that's different from everything else. And Hair of the Dog is like a radio staple, I guess. So there's that. And then Love Hurts is there, and that's not really worth talking about very much because it's just Love Hurts, and it's not like an amazing song to begin with. The worst song on here probably is Changing Times.
Yeah, I don't really have a favorite or a least favorite when I was bored by all of it.
Yeah.
It is a
Yeah.
pretty boring album.
Yeah. Don't Judas Me kind of stuck out to me a bit. I enjoyed that. And but I Love Hurts or whatever the fuck it's called, I always skip. So I'll put that as my number 0 last shitty song. Well, I'm tripping over my words.
Yeah, the Please Don't Judas Me sounds like a song that the guy in TISM would tear into on Morrison Hostel. But,
Morrison Hostel, good track.
That's Nazareth. What a time. I'm gonna say Chris Squier next, unless we want to do an TISM.
I think we go Chris Squier next because I feel like TISM is a bit to talk about.
Fair. Fish Out of
Yeah.
Water, Chris Squire, Tricks.
Well, that tricks at the scene.
All right, so imagine you're 27 with a brain fried out on weed, and your roommate's father is the director of the London Philharmonic, and your roommate owes you a favor, and so you record an album with the fucking London Philharmonic at 27. That's what this album is.
I can almost imagine. Yes. The only thing I did not notice is that when I was redoing the research, the information did not elevate the whole London Philharmonic thing. The only reference I really found, at least on the Wikipedia page, was for the video they put out.
Yeah, but it's the London Philharmonic, and my God, this is a good album.
That album art is something to remember for sure. That perfectly symmetrical face, that's
Oh,
like
yeah,
fish looking.
Yeah, well, his nickname was Chris Squire's nickname is Fish, and it was called Fish Out of Water because he's not with Yes, so he's out of his home territory.
It's a joke, guys. Get it?
No, I don't. Don't get it.
So I have
You're
to
gonna
like
have to explain it.
capitalize fish so you get it? It's fish out of water. Come on.
I don't get it. I'm sorry. You're gonna have to explain it to me in 15 words or less.
Chris Squire's Swiss Choir is a better
Fish.
title, though, I will say.
It is, but not a better album.
And well, that's it for Chris Squire.
Chris Squire is great.
There are
It's-
5 songs.
It's an experience. That's all I'll say. I'm not that big of a fan of this, and that's mostly because I was never really big into this era of music anyway. It's not like I wasn't somewhat into it. I mean, I liked Rush growing up, but stuff like this, I'm interested by. I respect it, but I'm not in love with it.
Yeah.
So
That's
it's hard
fair
for
enough.
me. It's hard for me to really like properly talk about this album. Just
What
Just
you
in
need
my
to know
experience.
about Yes is that Ozzy Osbourne said that Yes did a lot of drugs.
yeah, they sound like it.
It's cool that they were in a
Yeah.
band that allowed all the members to go off and create solo projects at a point.
Yeah, definitely.
That's where this comes from. It does suffer from the issue I was telling you during the week of like some of the songwriting sounds like he's really trying to do something here, but he just has that kind of regular rock sound sometimes, especially for something like You by My Side, where it's like he's trying to be real epic sounding and cool, but it's just kind of like it's the same kind of tone as like some of the more popular Yes songs, and not in the good way, I would feel like, for that.
Yeah.
Like he could go harder, he just chooses not to because it's Yes, you know.
Yes.
Yeah, but the last song, which the name escapes me right now because I'm out of it right now.
Safe Canon song.
Yes, where he's just doing a fuzzed out bass solo against a full piece orchestra. Ooh,
And
chills.
that was much more interesting. I think the second half of the album is way better than the first.
Oh, definitely. Side B is far superior to side A, but side A is still great.
Yeah,
So-
I would admit to like Canon song being just like one of the what the hell am I listening to experiences of this album.
Yeah.
Not in a bad way, just in a Like I like that this album is still kind of unique. Actually, it's not like I've actually heard that much that sounds like this.
Yeah, that's Chris Squier for you. Dude had a vision and he went with it.
Fair enough. This certainly isn't a unambitious album.
Yeah, this is like you said, some guy being 27, probably doing a bunch of drugs and just going for it. And
Yeah.
Lucky Seven's kind of a cool song. I could see that being like a rotational Yes song to put on. I'm very curious how these went over in like the full band because I guess they did perform some of these in concert.
Yeah. A lot of Yes fans just consider this like a Yes album because the keyboardist and the drummer are play on it.
Right.
So
Well, that's fair enough, I guess.
yeah, but it's a good album, and I just like Yes.
Not really got into Yes, but I do like prog rock, and symphonic rock is pretty cool. So he also produced it himself, which is an interesting idea for the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
But it is worth noting that this came out in 75, the same year as Nazareth's album. This is peak
And
70s.
it's a far superior album.
It's just peak that time. You know, my mom, she's 21 and turning. She's listening to all this stuff. She's choosing Love Hurts over Silently Falling, you know.
To be fair, it's like incredibly just nerd rock at this point. If you listen to like Yes and Rush at this point, you are like a nerd.
Fair enough. I probably will stop listening to both of them now in order to get my coolness back.
I am kind of tempted
You
to
never
buy.
had coolness because you do a podcast.
Yeah, that's true.
I am tempted to buy the Chris Squire album just because I think Lucky Seven's interesting, and for 5 songs, it's almost worth for that.
Yeah.
Also,
It's a very interesting album.
in my quest to make a playlist of every episode we've done, I usually choose two songs per episode, and I don't know if I want to do 2 TISM songs this time around. So anything else would be a nice replacement. As much as I like that album,
Yeah.
Lucky Seven on there would be something different.
I feel like you
Yeah.
could probably the probably best way to do this episode would probably be a Lucky Seven and probably Saturday Night Palsy or Defecate on My Face.
I was thinking about that. I was thinking about also doing Babies Bite Back because I really like that song.
That's just staring at me after I said Defecate on My Face. That's the title of a song.
It is also worth noting the age difference in our parents. My father was 4 when this album came out.
Oh, my mother was 21.
Let me do the math. Let's see. He would have been 17 when Nazareth came out, which is the same year as Fish Out of Water, so my dad would have been stoned if he listened to this album.
I mean, you kind of get a contact high from it.
So, if I probably asked if he's listened to this album, he probably won't remember. Good old 17.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would love to see him do karaoke to this, though. That'd be excellent.
Did either of you manage to find the the full episode of that?
No.
No, I didn't, sadly.
Want to fucking find it. I was so looking as well. It's so fucking hard. It's the biggest shame.
Also, the album does feature Chris Squire's, like, a friend of his, or like his kind of teacher on the organ.
Yeah.
So that
And there's
guy's,
an actual like church organ on it too
Yeah.
at one point.
I think that's for a couple of the songs. Hold On Your Hand for sure, I think. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Lucky Sevens and a 7/8 time signature. That's pretty cool.
Oh yeah. There's weird time signatures all over this album.
There's a 4/4 even at some point.
I believe that Canon song gets into like 11 something.
Oh.
These are numbers that are just too much for me. I'm sorry. We're gonna.
Which 11 would be like 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3. That's how you would count 11.
Wow.
I was already scared when I heard 11, and now I'm even more scared.
But yeah, the way you count weird time signatures like that is to just break it down.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, album good.
Yeah, I mean,
it's fine.
I still enjoyed it. As much as I'm not like gonna be the biggest fan of this, it's still an enjoyable experience.
That's kind of where I am. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that's what we're all gonna be, because like this is an episode where I'm mostly just choosing like the stuff that kind of more defined what our main tastes are.
Yeah, like you can see where my taste came from with this album, can't you?
Yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much. Very basic.
If we ever do this again, I do want to have us swap parents for this.
Yeah, I'd be doing something by like Nico Case, the new pornographers for my mother.
I don't know if I want to pick a Santana album.
We might have to.
Carlos Santana fucking rocks, man.
I, I don't think he's untalented. Don't get me wrong. I just like get bored by his music of how much I've listened to. The amount of times I've heard fucking Smooth, man.
Sure.
I will agree with that, but he writes a banger tune.
He's
a hell
pretty
of a
cool.
guitar player.
Black Magic Woman, you know, famous song.
I like
Yeah.
Black Magic Woman too. I think it's a good song. I just don't want to hear fucking Smooth again.
Then don't pick that album. He has like 70 others.
Well, here's the problem. My mom's also a huge fan of Matchbox 20.
All right.
You got the one where they're both together, and that song played constantly, man.
Wait, they
think
collaborated?
Oh man.
Yeah, Rob Thomas on
Yeah.
on Smooth.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. That makes sense.
So it was actually at points in which I was hearing it 7 times a day.
Oh my god, I feel sorry for you.
Oh boy.
It was not a fun time. Please send child support.
Please support this child. For just
He's
33 cents a day,
23 now, or
for less than the price of a cup of coffee, you too can support Ritz's trauma recovery. One day he can listen to Santana without cringing.
Possible.
yeah,
But yeah, no, fun album.
indeed.
Favorite songs probably Lucky 7, followed by Cannon Song. Least favorite's probably You by My Side.
I don't have a least favorite. My favorite is Cannon Song.
I'll probably put the favorite as Cannon Song as well. It was an interesting experience.
I was reminded kind of Planisphere, mostly just because of the length. Also, in terms of like long songs ending an album that just are not like atmospheric and weird. Either have the atmospheric and weird ones, or you have stuff like this that are just like experiences.
Yeah.
But yes, one day I hope to listen to Chris Squier's Squier. But other than that, I still might buy this album. Who knows?
It's a good album. I might buy my own vinyl copy of it.
Which now leads us to what I think the star of the show is: Great Truckin Songs of the Renaissance by TISM.
Alright, so first off, the greatest album title of the week. I think we can all agree on that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Secondly off, this shit is controversial.
Yes.
So a big warning on this. Now in the original album, which ends at "Defecate on My Face," it only uses the N-word once, but they've managed to get it up to a good total of 2 times in this whole album, which, you know, obviously they're the whitest dudes out there, so it's probably not the best thing to be using. Now in '88 in Australia, a lot more accepted.
Also, I want to say they're in two different contexts as well. One's like the actual word, and then the other one's like quoting a title. So they managed to vary it up and make it, you know, 2 different contexts. So I guess that's like some kind of achievement for them. Not really.
I think we can safely say we don't really need to discuss the part where it's them using it in context of a title, because it's just the context of a title.
They could have not said it. They could have said anything else.
Again, it's 88. I'm not going to use the words obviously that people that have been said here. It's not that I'm personally against saying the word when it's just used in the context of this. It's that other people who are more qualified to speak on it are against it, so I'm just going to stick with their view.
Yeah.
And
to get an idea, they talk about the Agatha Christie novel, and then there were none under its original title.
Well, there was a controversy a while ago where a Sky News presenter to use the phrase "elephant in the room." We had a popular one, so same with Britain as well, which was blank in the woodpile. Fill in the blank when you want to. By the way, kids, play this at home. I don't really mind the usage of it when in its more offensive way in here, because it's the context of TISM, where they're not trying to piss off an entire race of people for the sake of hatred. They just want to piss off everyone for the sake of being TISM.
Yeah, you definitely get that feeling across for sure.
When in their previous album, when they put up a list of people who are fucked in the head, and they say this is serious, mom is fucked in the head.
Yeah.
I can safely say that you can just kind of go off and put us everything that they've done in this album, they're fucked in the head.
Out of the three
Indeed.
comedy acts we've done in a row now, I think TISM is better than Ween and Tenacious D.
Yeah.
That is not the words I'd expect to hear out of Dominic's mouth today, but I'll take it.
Definitely like more highbrow too, if I can dare say that.
Oh no, they definitely are, because these are people who are like actual fucking English teachers.
Yeah, they do slam poetry on this
Yeah.
album.
Yeah.
They really invested in it.
I mean, my father is an English teacher, and he's not the most highbrow individual I know. So
Yeah.
like I was watching No Time to Die with him, and he was talking about how if they do a female James Bond, they should just have the intro as just a bunch of guys with their schwanzes standing out.
It's definitely what makes TISM one of the better satire bands out there. Is the fact that they don't just rely on a bunch of like just random jokes or kind of shock humor. I mean,
Yeah.
Ween is surprisingly a lot more highbrow than what you would expect, but even then, they do still go for just trying to make you feel uncomfortable at times as part of their songwriting.
Spiral meningitis.
Which works in its own way. So I don't really like. I feel like TISM's more comparable to Tenacious D than they are to Ween. I think Ween's just in a different league.
Yeah, they're interested in brown music.
Mm.
TISM just is very like refined in a way, and very like.
Yeah, I can't believe you didn't fucking do an Interested in Apathy joke. Fuck. It's literally opening the song of this album. You're interested in brown music. TISM is interested. You gotta say it. You gotta say it. Ah, fuck. Doesn't say
I've lost
apathy.
interest. Never mind.
Yeah, there you go. Good opener, that song, actually. I love
Yeah.
I'm Interested in Apathy.
Apathy. It's very good 80s. Like that's the thing I didn't expect was that like we listened to Machiavelli in the Four Seasons in our very first episode, and I think their sound translated very well to the 90s. I did not expect their sound to also be very good for the 80s. They're kind of a timeless band in that way.
Yeah, I mean, TISM always kind of just decided to go with whatever sound that they wanted to, because it wasn't about the sound.
Right.
It was about being as offensive as possible.
The lyrical content was definitely focus.
I still feel like Machiavelli is a lot more edgier in a fun way.
It's refined.
Mostly for He'll Never Be an Old Man River, which is still probably their most like offensive song that they put out there.
I mean, the whole song about John Bonham's Coke Roadie is pretty up there too, I would think.
Yeah, that's a good tune too.
Fucking, I love it.
Devacate on My Face was their like first released recorded song, I think, too. So that's a song from Hitler's perspective, you know. That's like starting your band off with a bang of sorts, or like a plop, really.
Yeah.
And then right after that comes into the second part of this album. So we can call the first part. I forgot what the actual title for it is, and then the second part we're just gonna call the slam poetry part. And it starts off with them just telling about how to kill every American.
And then it just
for
gets
2 minutes.
Yeah.
It just gets bigger and bigger until they're killing everybody with nukes.
Yeah. But then there's some actual.
I'll bite the end off of one of them.
There's some actual like really good moments on this second part as well, especially the Morty Alec. No, sorry, the Morty Alec. Can't fucking remember how to pronounce it. Road Duplicator.
Yeah, that song was
which
cool.
is one of the. Yeah, that's one of the highlights of this album. Obviously, Morrison Hostel was pretty fucking fun.
I think Ezra Pound Axe King was very good.
I learned the bass line to that one.
As like the Ezra Pound stuff was really cool. Like that whole delivery was awesome.
But just gonna talk about the first fucking 12 songs on here because that's the actual proper album. And fuck, there is some goddamn tunes on here. Fucking Anarchy Means Crossing when it says Don't Walk is a really fun minute and 30 seconds. Despite the kind of controversial line in there, if you're creative, get stuffed, is still a good tune. In fact, even the controversial line does kind of put up that whole kind of whole point. It's like it is actually like being treated as a slave, as you expected to like kind of meet these deadlines, get paid absolutely nothing, and all this shit for artwork. It's an offensive line to put out on, and it definitely probably wouldn't fly to say it these days. But I think it's definitely important that they fucking did. Because I feel like it does get their point across. Not that I'm trying to defend the use of the N-word.
Yeah.
Saturday Night Palsy, just an absolute tune.
Do you know why they changed the lyric for that?
Well, because you can say the N-word and it's all fine, but the record label doesn't like if you got to shoot heroin for the eye.
It is the 80s when it's the Say No to Drugs campaign, you know.
Yeah. But in every single live performance, they don't use the Red Hot Proker, they go heroin for the eye.
Yeah, I just think it's whether that's the song that they change, then yeah.
I've got the original demo recordings and stuff like from CDs I have, and it's all heroin for the eye, which is a better fucking line.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. Oh yeah.
Obviously, we showed the classic hey, it's Saturday live performance that they did, in which they were told that they would be lip syncing the whole thing, so they, without telling the fucking the actual producers and stuff, it grabbed as much people as they could to do the live performance with. And you might think it might be a bit staged because they all had costumes as well, but no, TISM just have that many costumes with them on tour.
God.
I don't doubt it.
You should like fucking listen to interviews with the roadies of TISM gigs, and they just like there's this one where they it's actually on the White album, this DVD interview, and they just talk they had the interview with TISM, and then they have it with like other people, and then they have it with two roadies, and all the roadies do is just complain about fucking gigs that they had to set up.
There's a lot of work, and as we know from Tenacious D, the roadie is very underappreciated.
And this roadie knows.
Again, another comedy album to talk about roadies.
Yep.
And I mean, it's hard to go fully in depth into this album without going on for hours and hours and hours.
Do it. Come on, let's go.
I meant like hours, but I'm still gonna go in depth in this, Dominic. It's a podcast. But there is absolutely so much that they cover in just the first 12 songs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not even like they don't always have to have a specific meaning to them as well. Some of them are just outlandish for the sake of being outlandish, which is just fantastic.
I mean, the first guy in the first song equates stopping terrorism to knowing a guy in TISM. That's where his priorities are. Compare that to Martin Scorsese is quite a jovial fellow.
That was actually the one that I was just about to talk about, which
that's a good tune.
I mean, the fucking titles on this thing alone should just pretty much be able to tell you what type of album this is, and the songs are as good as the titles.
Does Martin know about this album is what I want to know. Has he listened to this song?
Oh, apparently he's quite a jovial fellow, so...
I hope he has listened to it.
I don't think there's like much information regarding that. I think the only one that really have the confirmation on was Flea having listened to a TISM album.
Oh, that's cool at least.
Well, Flea was tweeting recently about listening to the OCs.
Well, it was more Flea listened to He'll Never Be an Old Man River, and then he said afterwards, yeah, he wanted to kill TISM.
That's when you take everything too personally, my friend.
I mean,
they literally have a song called "I Drive a Truck."
Have only released.
Sorry, what are you saying, Dominic?
I was just saying they have a song called "I Drive a Truck." Like, come on, they're not trying to be like ultra serious about this, despite what their band name might say.
See, I think what is funny though is I think actually "He Will Never Be an Old Man River" is one of their most serious songs, because it does have an actual point to it, which is if you keep following celebrities as blindly as you do like this is just what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Well, let's get into the second part of this album now, which is definitely like the most unexpected after it kind of just shifts into kind of like a live slam poetry session.
Yeah, it's cool.
I really dig the second half of this. It might even be a little bit better for me. I don't know.
Yeah,
but,
that's
like it's so unexpected and weird and interesting.
I'm honestly surprised that you two ended up enjoying this as much as you did with when Machiavelli didn't perform so well.
Time.
I think you need to like warm us up with Ween or something. I don't know.
Well, also this is such like a sprawling album too. Like it's with the extra songs, it's an hour and a half long. There's a lot to think about.
One on YouTube I listened to an hour and 10.
Well, yeah, the digital tracks you didn't listen to, I did, but
the iTunes bonus because I don't know how to iTunes bonus. I mean, this is the longest album I'm pretty sure that was that we had this week, and to be honest, I think it went a lot faster than the other two did for me.
Yeah, because like some of these songs just kind of go with each other, and like you just don't even think about like when it breaks or when it changes. He's like Ron Hilabarassi is so interesting to listen to that you just listen to him just go on and on about fucking Darren Hinch, and it fucking works.
Which, if you don't know who Darren Hinch is, keep it that way.
Fucked a 17-year-old who he thought was 15, and we'll just say that much.
Yeah. I just fucking love the whole poem, which is just celebrating him being in jail. Fucking great one.
I
Forgot
can
which tune that
take
was, but
Ronald Reagan. I can take something. I don't know who else he says.
you're trying so hard to do the Australian accent as well.
I can't quite do the emphasis and the like tone of voice as well. He really that's like the thing is like for slam poetry you really need the investment like emotionally, physically, and he absolutely delivers it.
Mm-hmm.
Like you could feel like the hatred for Darren Hinch. You can feel the emotions he's going through for Kill Americans and all that. But for his hatred of the Doors and
Indeed.
Morrison, and for fans of Morrissey and Robert Smith,
Mm.
like he goes at everybody by the end.
Yeah, pretty
Yeah,
much.
which fucking props.
I think the easy thing to say about it is TISM really like they don't hold back. There's no one, including themselves, that they won't have a go at.
Right, and that's the thing too is that they also go at themselves.
Yeah. If you can't turn the mirror back on yourself and make fun of yourself, you can't make fun of anybody else. I always kind of believe that.
Yeah, no, that is definitely a fair philosophy to have, and they definitely show that. They've always kind of shown it as well. I know on Machiavelli they're a bit more having a go at everyone but themselves for a lot of it, but
Also, very surprising to me was the couple samples that they had. Because the "Defecate in My Face" has it's maybe not a direct sample, but like an interpolation of a Beatles song. Yesterday, I believe.
I think so.
Yeah.
I could be wrong.
And then they just have
Let me search up "Defecate My Face" on Google and see what happens.
And then they have a Volare just there in the background at the end of the song that they called Volare.
Let's see. Well, go on Wikipedia. Controversy about "Defecate on My Face." Song could not be played on radio until 1993 because of Nazi references and coprophilia, which is, obviously the "Defecate on My Face."
Yeah. It is such a tame word for what it is.
Also, the idea that they really wanted to play it on the radio is funny to me.
Oh, here's
Yeah.
here's a good here's a good comparison that happens on Wikipedia. All Music's Jonathan Lewis compares TISM with Ween, saying that while Ween writes songs that are happily crass, they would hesitate to record a song called "Defecate on My Face," let alone release it as a single. But TISM, yeah, it's their very first single.
Yes. Like, they'll do HIV song as a gag, but they would never, like, go full hog with it.
Yeah.
Like, they wouldn't write a song about getting HIV and what that means. It's like, it'd be like writing a song called Patient Zero, talking about a guy just going around and fucking everybody with hatred in his heart because he has HIV. And that's like the degree to which they'd have to go to like match something that TISM would do.
Oh yeah.
Good album. I like TISM.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You two finally have become Australian now.
I'm excited to listen to White Album.
We might be listening to wanker.com before we get to White Album.
Yeah, if we just cover TISM in the rest of the year, I'll be fine.
Mm.
I also just gotta shout out to the bonus tracks, the digital tracks.
I just want to point out on well, you go first. Actually,
no, you go ahead.
I was gonna say on wanker.com they had another song which wasn't allowed on radio as well, mostly because its title was "I might be a cunt, but I'm not a fucking cunt."
Yeah.
Oh, that's a mood.
Well, like even their bonus tracks, like the digital tracks, are just so catchy. Like I think "Baby's Right Back" is one of my favorites on here because it's just so fun. And you got like, go ahead.
I was also gonna say the funny thing about that song getting banned on radio is it still reached 90 on the ARIA charts.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah, go back about you and the bonus tracks.
I think I got Mick Jagger worked out. It's also pretty fun. I will say the one thing that got me though was the ending of "Opium is the Religion of the Masses" when they start doing "How Do I Love Thee" from Machiavelli in a song that they recorded in 1988. Like way before.
I mean, Machiavelli. Oh no, sorry. TISM and Machiavelli were definitely a lot more sample heavy as well. So it's no surprise that they probably sampled themselves on that.
Yeah, but people would recognize that song from Machiavelli instead of elsewhere is the funny part. So really it's a sample of themselves, but like going back to it through this album, it sounds like they're sampling it for this album. But this, according to the information on the recording, that came out years before "How Do I Love Thee."
I mean,
Interesting.
Yeah, TISM has always just kind of released a lot of B-sides, so definitely in their prime time. Australia's must-see live act,
I can
mostly for
imagine.
Australians, because my dad's definitely gone to enough TISM shows to know that. And that's kind of the reason I picked it. This was like the first kind of band me and my dad kind of like properly connected on. Granted, it's not like the
That's
first like
pretty sweet.
probably not like the actual first, but like yeah, I remember just like learning about this band more and more, just from like his kind of experiences. So like a lot of what I know from TISM as well is just from what he's told me.
Fair.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like it's probably best that I chose this out though, over all the other choices I had, to be honest.
I'm just glad we finally got back to TISM, and that it ended up
Yeah.
working out really well.
Look, it
Yeah.
might not be the record for the longest gap between two bands though, because I do plan another one that we did at the start of this podcast very
Ooh,
soon.
Well, we'll see how close we get to that. Because there are other Hot Flash Heatwave albums, aren't there?
There's one other, and they might be coming out with a new one this year, and I might have that one lined up in the pipeline if it comes up.
So we definitely are willing to swing back around to things.
Oh yeah.
Like I'm still waiting for Aiden Alexander to drop that album so we could finally revisit those songs with a new fresh look.
They're I will say in terms of Hot Flash Heatwave, their album Soaked is basically just a Mac DeMarco ripoff.
Well, we know how well that went last time, so
Mm-hmm.
I'll probably love it. You'll be like, it's all right. It's not the best work.
Well, I think we've said enough about this album. Good album.
Album's
Yes.
good.
Favorites are definitely Saturday Night Palsy. I'm interested in Apathy. Ballad of John Bonham's Coke Roadie, Morrison Hostel, all classics, and definitely the OG TISM song Defecate on My Face. Defecate on my face, defecate on my face.
Yeah, I'm interested in Apathy is a good one. Saturday Night Palsy is really fun. Defecate in My Face. I Drive a Truck I really liked. I just think that's so fucking stupid and funny. I also gotta really call out the slam poetry. Fucking Morrison Hostel, Kill Americans, The Penis is Mightier Than the Sword, and the I Said to the Angel, Want to Play Kick to Kick. Ezra Pound Axe King, also great fucking track. When they really want to change it up, they do change it up. And even the bonus tracks, like fucking Babies Bite Back, is really cool. I really dig it. Good stuff throughout. The thing that's probably my least favorite, I mean, I like that it's different, but maybe 40 Years in Death. Other than that, like maybe Foster's Car Park Bookie is a little bit harder to remember for me.
Yeah, fair enough.
I don't really have a least favorite. I just kind of enjoyed this whole album.
You've changed your opinion quite a bit.
Yeah, well, I was said initially it was going to be a blender for me because of how I was listening to it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was listening to it on YouTube Music on a YouTube rip that was just every song uploaded together as one big chunk.
Mm.
But I made sure to like go through and like look at song titles, screenshot them so I could memorize them, that sort of thing.
I think it's for your benefit that you did.
Yeah.
What's your favorite though?
Hold up. Let me look through my screenshots again. One sec. Fuck. I quite enjoyed. I screenshotted a bunch that really stood out to me. Martin Scorsese, Slave to the Economist, the Mortalaic Road Duplicator, and Morrison Hotel.
Hostel,
yeah.
Good stuff.
I looked at it quick.
Yeah. I made that mistake until yesterday when I realized it was Hostel and not Hotel. I did have the pleasure of passing by a Jimbo's Pizzeria as I was listening to it, though, the other day. That was quite fun.
That's pretty great.
All right. So, 3, 2, 1. I'm going to say mine. Feel free to agree or disagree. Number 3 for me is Nazareth. Number 2 for me is Chris Squier. Number 1 for me is TISM.
I agree.
I'm going to swap TISM and Chris Squire.
Yeah.
Universal number 3. Yeah.
Honestly, I'm surprised I got this higher TISM. I thought it was going to be number 3 for both of you before this week started.
To me, it's almost skeletal lamping rules, and that skeletal lamping was by far the most interesting one, so of course it wins.
Fair enough.
They'll just be like our thing of like, it's a skeletal lamping week.
Yeah.
But what are we going to do next week?
Well, technically next week we're going to be recording our second anniversary, but because of the magic of space-time, that'll be probably on YouTube well before this episode airs. So, really what we're going to do for next episode is another 2021 segment.
Yay!
Hooray.
And everyone voted for my pick, so I'll say it first. I am finally doing Lana Del Rey, and I've been wanting to do Lana Del Rey ever since Norman fucking Rockwell came out. I did not think it would go over super well, so I've been holding back. But when I presented my options, Lana was by far the unanimous vote. We're doing Chemtrails Over the Country Club, a surprisingly controversial album too, for the cover art.
So I just want to point out that like everyone keeps pointing out like new artists and stuff, like industry plants and everything like that. And then Lana turned out to be an actual industry plant, and everyone stopped caring. Just to her and went on to everyone else.
Oh, she's
like,
an industry plant?
Well, yeah, no, she actually was. She was confirmed to be an industry plant.
So what does that mean exactly?
Oh.
It just means that they pretty much just made sure that the type of music and persona that she had was going to be successful. Who really cares? The music's good.
Yeah.
I'm just surprised after doing like Ali X and Lady Gaga and having that go the way it did.
With Lana Del Rey, they put out that her persona and stuff was that she actually came from like the whole trailer kind of a park kind of thing, and was that kind of whole singer doing it straight from there. Mm-hmm. And they tried to put that as that was her authentic actual persona and like backstory. But no, her name is Lizzie Grant, and she was the daughter of a record producer.
That's right. Okay,
yeah.
I understand.
And there was a big controversy for like a year and a half.
I've forgotten all about that.
Now everyone stopped caring because her music good. Who the fuck cares?
Video games still great song. Diet Mountain Dew, fucking Young and Beautiful, great stuff. But yeah, Chemtrails Over the Country Club.
Oh my god, that summertime sadness.
The Adam Freeland remix of Summertime Sadness is actually a fucking bop.
I can believe that.
I'll have to give you the file because it's very hard to find.
Fair enough.
And now for my 2021 pick, I promised you Squid. So here's Tones and we'll go to Squid. We're doing Bright Green Field by Post Punk's Squid. This is one I've been telling Dominic I'll be doing for a while.
Just like Mogwai.
Can I admit that I've listened to this before because it came up on my radio well before you said you were going to say it, and it came up while I was exercising, and I'm like, oh, fuck yeah, we're doing this. This is a good album.
Hell yeah. One Tricks already knows and likes.
Yeah.
There are some bops on this.
Is it going to be better than Sly Withers is my question.
Probably. I like
I've got a bit of a weird one. This is a band I kind of stumbled into. I'm going to be doing the album The Big Happy by La Bouquet.
How do you spell that?
La L-A. La L-A and then Bouquet, Bouquet. And I'm also going to tack on the single from last year, Anxiety, My Best Friend.
So it's called Big Happy, you said?
The Big Happy, yes.
Yeah. Found it. I am ready to listen to this once, cry, and then listen to it again. And then
what kind of genre do you think they are?
Looking for this, I'm going to assume this is going to be some sad boy indie pop.
Yeah.
Oh, that's quite the fucking album art.
Oh yeah.
That is not at all what I expected.
I looked at their bio, like not at the words, just at what they look like. This is straight up 100% indie pop, isn't it?
Oh, pretty much, yeah. It's a good album.
I'm expecting Hippocampus.
Their Spotify bio picture. One of them is wearing normal, regular glasses that looks like what Trix would wear, and the other one is wearing 3D glasses. If this ain't indie pop, it fucking ain't anything else.
Yeah.
I can't see that picture. Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh, because Spotify had a fucking load on my fucking desktop browser, not the actual app. So I didn't want to do that. Okay. Oh, I don't even get a picture. Oh, come on, Spotify. Work with me here.
Well, whilst Dominic tries to find a picture, I have been Ritalin. You can catch me on our website, Ritalin for Kids, so get up to date. I also have a YouTube channel, which will be in the description below. I also have a game that I released on Steam, which literally got released 2 days ago, around the time of this recording, so it's probably been released for like a month, which means that, hey, I probably have an update to this game coming out soon.
And that's cool.
Yeah.
So is it La Bouquet and Oliver the Kid?
Yes.
Okay. The way that was.
I have been Tricks. You can catch me on Twitter at procrastinaut_. It's like procrastinating astronaut, and then an underscore at the end of it. And I have a couple accounts that I'll link that too. Like I've got a bot account, and I'm working on another bot account
Send me the link to those
with
bot
code
accounts.
that'll make Ritalin cry.
I'll include the bot accounts in my usual link rotation.
Sweet.
All right, I've been Dominic. You can catch me online on Twitter at DACICHOCKI. I've also been at tiltingwindmillstudios.com where you can read my writing still. I haven't written anything in a while, but you can read it there if you wish. There's a really great review of Alternate Jake Hunter, Daedalus, The Awakening, and Golden Jazz that I always love thinking about because that was such a fucking awful game. And the review is the only actual takedown of the game that I've seen online. So definitely check that out. You can also follow Dissonant Waves on Twitter at Dissonant Waves. We're on YouTube, obviously. Also, we have a website, dissonantwaves.space.
Indeed.
And to recap, one more time, we're listening to Lana Del Rey's Chemtrails Over the Country Club, Squid's Bright Green Field, and The Big Happy by La Bouquet and Oliver the Kid. Plus the single Anxiety is My Friend? My Best Friend.
Anxiety, My Best Friend.
Yes. That'll do it for us.
That was how I discovered them, and I figured I gotta include it.
Kind of like a pickles in the jar situation, I'm guessing. Or pickles from the jar. Courtney Barnett. Yeah. All right. That'll do it for us. Have a great time